Welcome to the Draw Shop's Get Genius podcast, where we talk to today's business influencers to pick their brain and pull out their genius. It's time to get genius.
Hello, listeners. Today's going to be a pretty cool show. We're going to talk about some stuff that you may not know about. I didn't know all of this before I met Ty Crandall, who is my next guest. And Ty is an internationally known speaker, author, and business credit expert. He's got over 17 years of financial experience, and he's recognized as an authority in business credit building, business credit scoring, and business financing. We've heard a lot about business financing. Nobody's too green to that, but you might be green to the fact that you can actually get credit without having to personally guarantee it with your own Social Security. I, for one, didn't know that. I thought you always had to tie your business owner's Social Securities to it, but I'm learning different, and it's pretty cool, and it makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that there was a different scoring system for your business credit profile. So many things I didn't know. So many things I didn't know in terms of getting loans that you need and what's available out there. So really good interview to listen to, especially if you're in the mode of maybe you have a startup that you don't want to bootstrap all on your own, and maybe you don't actually want to raise money for it either, and you would like a loan to get that started. Or maybe it's your business that you currently have, and you know that it would take just that extra bit of capital to really get it to the next level that it needs to go to. So Ty and I talk about that on this interview. It's really cool. He is the author of two of the best-selling books on consumer and business credit. They are Perfect Credit and Business Credit Decoded, and he's written hundreds of published articles relating to business credit. He's also been interviewed on countless radio and TV programs and news shows all over the country, and he's been featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Inc. In fact, I think he's frequently featured on those magazines or periodicals. Ty currently serves as CEO at Credit Suite. Credit Suite is the business that we talk about a lot, and creditsuite.com is the site to go to access all of the information we talk about. He consults with and advises companies on business credit building and scoring. He's overseen the business credit building for thousands of clients and has helped create and grow the most credible business coaching operation in the U.S. He's also created and coaches the largest business credit provider network in the world. And some other fun things about Ty is he's been through it. And that's what I appreciate the most, when somebody who becomes an expert in something becomes that expert because they've been through the icky, yucky part of before being an expert. That's what made him the expert. There's a lot of people out there who, and probably are very wonderful and very educated and knowledgeable on certain things related to whatever their field is. But there's just something about somebody who's actually almost lost everything, or had to file bankruptcy, or almost had to lose a business, who then becomes very successful learning from those mistakes. There's just something a little bit extra credible about that for me. So enjoy this interview. I think you're going to get a lot from it. Hey, Ty, thanks so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am too. We're going to talk about some stuff that may get people excited or may go, oh, crap. Where do I stand? So let's do it. It's time to get uncomfortable. So you are a business credit expert, among many other things. I am so curious as to what made you decide to get into this business.
Well, I screwed up my first business and ran it into the ground. That's pretty much how it happened. I owned a mortgage company. It was the first business I ever owned, and it was easy. I was so surprised how easy running a business was, because it was the height of the mortgage industry, and like at that point, you couldn't mess up if you were in the mortgage industry, which I didn't know. I just thought I was that awesome, but apparently that wasn't the case, because the whole industry crashed, and I ended up trying to save the business but failing to do so. And in doing so, I personally guaranteed everything for my business, as most of us do, because I didn't know there was a better way. And so what happened was, when we started to default on business obligations, it carried right over to the personal side. They came over, they started clearing out our personal bank accounts and filing judgments, and it really it almost pushed me and my family into personal bankruptcy. So at that, it was really a tough time. I recovered. I got in the consumer credit industry to help people recover as I was trying to recover myself. And along the way, we had a lot of customers that asked about business credit. And at the time, I'd spent, over a decade in financial services, and I owned a consumer credit company and had never even really heard of what business credit was or how it worked. So, people would ask, and I would do what all of us business owners do when we don't know the answer. I would stall as I went to Google to try to Google the answer and find it, so I sounded like I knew what I was talking about. Not to say that you've ever done that. That's just what I did at the moment. And I couldn't find anything about it. But eventually, enough people asked, right? I dove in and realized what it was. And I just became frustrated. I became frustrated that I didn't know about it, that if I didn't know about it, how many other people didn't know about it, that there was a way to separate personal and business credit liability, that all these financial problems that I'd had because I guaranteed things in my business I never had to have. I was frustrated that nobody was talking about it. And so I just decided to learn everything I could learn and be that advocate out there, telling everybody that would listen about what business credit was, how it worked, and the exact process to be able to go out there and get it.
Nice. So what are some of the things that most people do not know about business credit?
It's interesting because it's estimated, I think Entrepreneur reports that over 90% of business owners know nothing about business credit. And, a lot of other sources say that over half of the people out there have bad business credit, don't even know about it. So I think one of the first things is that it exists. A lot of people don't realize that you have a consumer credit report and scores that are linked to your social security number. And what you might not know is that your business has exactly the same thing that's linked to its business EIN. So Equifax and Experian, which we're all familiar with in the consumer world, and Dun & Bradstreet, which we're not familiar with in the consumer world, basically issue credit profile and issue credit scores for every business in their database. And what's interesting about Equifax and Experian is they will issue a report and even give you a failing score if they know you exist and they know your SIC code, even if you have no credit reporting. So very different in the commercial world. The commercial world, anybody can see your business credit reports, your competitors and prospects, clients. They don't need your permission to do so. In the commercial world, reports can be generated for you that are bad even when you have no bad credit, because you're looked at as high risk because you have no credit for your business. Those are some things that I think that everybody should know, as well as the fact that business credit does exist. It is linked to your EIN. It can be obtained very quickly and easily if you know the steps to do so. And in doing so, you follow suit with SCORE, with Inc., with SBA, with Forbes, with all these financial authorities that also talk about that importance of separating your consumer and your commercial credit, which is the way it's supposed to be for business owners.
Yeah. So for most small businesses, when they open up lines of credit, or they're using their personal credit score to do that.
Well, what a lot of business owners don't know is that when you go in to apply for anything for your business, whether it be credit line, credit card, or loan, they are pulling both usually. They're pulling your business credit, they're pulling your consumer credit. The consumer credit is regulated by a law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And the Fair Credit Reporting Act says, especially if you're declined, they have to notify you they pulled the consumer credit and which bureau they pulled and why they made the decline decision. There is no FCRA. There is no Fair Credit Reporting Act in the business world. So what happens is most business owners are getting denied by loans, credit cards, credit lines because they don't have business credit, and they don't know it because the credit issuer and lender isn't telling them because they don't need to by law. So that's what really happens. Now, on the flip side, when you build enough business credit, then you can walk in and start especially getting credit cards without even giving them your social. So you're walking in and getting a Staples, an Office Depot, a Home Depot, a Sears, a Costco, BP, Chevron, Apple, Dell, Visa card, MasterCard, without ever giving your social. And that's when you get away from the personal guarantee, you get away from the personal credit check, you get away from the decision being made based on consumer credit quality. You just have to build some business credit first, and then you can start obtaining a lot of credit, high limit revolving accounts without needing the social, without the personal credit check. Although loans and credit lines are harder to get without the personal credit check until your business is a little bit more seasoned and well established.
Right. So how does a business go about doing that and building that credit?
Well, there's a couple different ways. I mean, the first thing is before you start doing anything, applying for any kind of loan, credit line, or credit card, you want to make sure your business is set up credibly. So every line item on an application, you need to ask yourself, does that reflect the answer you're putting on the application? Does it reflect that you're a credible business? So you want to have a business name that reflects that you're not in a high risk industry. For example, lending and, pornography and, firearms and basically all the fun stuff is all high risk apparently in the world today. So you want to stay away from any name that reflects you're in a high risk industry. You want to use a real business address. Never use a UPS address. Never use a PO box. Worst case, use a home address. Best case, use a physical address. Middle of the road option, use a virtual address. Again, a virtual address, which is an address you're basically just renting the address, that makes you look more credible than a home address would. Use a business phone. Never use a mobile phone or a home phone on applications. Get a fax number. Get your phone number listed with 411. Make sure that your business is set up credibly on paper. Have a website. Have a professional email address. Once you've done so, then do a quick check. It's free to see if you do already have credit established with the reporting agencies. Because again, if Equifax and Experian know you exist and you pull something that shows that they do, it's worth getting a report for them because you could easily be issued a failing score and not know about it. And we've got a link right on our website, creditsuite.com/reports, where somebody can go and do a free check with all three reporting agencies to figure that out. And then the next step is start building initial business credit. A lot of people that do know business credit exists try to walk into Staples, try to walk into their bank and get a credit card based on their EIN only, but that won't work. If you just start building your consumer credit, you can't walk into Bank of America or Staples and get a credit card. You're starting with small secure credit cards. In the business world, you're starting with what are called vendor accounts. And these are places like Uline and Quill that sell shipping supplies and office supplies. They'll issue you credit on terms like net 30, which means they give you 30 days to pay back that credit in its entirety, whatever you borrow. They'll report it to the business credit reporting agencies. They don't need your personal social to be able to issue you credit, and they'll approve everybody. Sometimes they make you place one or two orders before they'll approve you, but they will approve almost everybody we've seen. We've never seen a case where they haven't before you have to place 3 orders. Then you use the credit, you pay the bill. They report to the reporting agencies. And once you have even one of those accounts with Equifax and Experian, they'll populate a report and give you a good score. Even if you had a bad score, the one paid as agreed account will give you a good one. And then Dun & Bradstreet, once you have 3 of those accounts, they'll issue your report and your score as well, as long as you've got your DUNS number with them, which anybody can go online and get for free. And that's it. Once you've done so, you have your initial credit report and score established. Once you have about 5 accounts total on your business credit reports, you can start getting credit at most stores. Dell and Apple and Staples and Office Depot and Home Depot, Lowe's, Pitney Bowes, almost every retailer offers them. And then once you have about 10 accounts, then you can start to get Visa cards, MasterCards approved. You can even start to get auto vehicle financing, fleet credit for fuel and auto vehicle repairs and maintenance. And all of this credit is obtained without the credit check and without the personal guarantee.
Now, the next big thing is maintaining that credit.
The beautiful thing about maintaining business credit is that it's super simple to do. The consumer FICO score is complicated. It deals with your credit mix and how long you've had credit for. And, it deals with the new credit inquiries you have and how you utilize your credit and pay your bills. So it really takes a lot. You have to be very disciplined to get good scores. In the business world, your scores are primarily, and with 2 of the reporting agencies, solely based on how you pay your bills. So the key to getting good scores and maintaining it is really simple. All you have to do is pay your bill as early as you possibly can for every account. You have to let the item ship first. if the item ships, it becomes credit. As long as that's taken place, you pay the bill as agreed. And as long as you continue to pay the bills as agreed and continue to apply for more credit, your limits get higher and higher. One of our clients just recently got approved for an individual card with a $75,000 limit. So commercial credit card limits way higher than consumer credit. And all you have to do is keep applying, keep using the credit, keep paying your bills timely. And that's all that's really involved to be able to maintain good commercial credit profiles and scores.
Right. And how is the scoring? Is the scoring, I know it's different things that come into account, but are the numbers the same?
Well, they're definitely different. Consumer FICO ranges from 300 up to 850. And commercial credit actually ranges usually from 0 to 100. Business credit, each reporting agency has about 5 scores you may see on the credit report, and they're all completely different. Like some scores range from 1 to 9, for example. But the main scores range from 0 to 100. And, 80 or 90 means you pay your bill on time or early. And below that, how low your score is really just depends on how late you pay. So for Dun & Bradstreet, for example, a 70 score literally reflects that you're paying your bills on average 2 weeks beyond the due date.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So how can people be aware? You said that there's no, like you said, if you were to apply for something, there's no letter that you get. How can people be aware of where they are at? And also, is there anything like, for personal credit, you can have monitoring alerts so that you
Sure.
know if there's any fraud or anything like that? Is there the same for business?
It's a great idea to monitor. I mean, anybody should be monitoring. If you are a consumer, you should be monitoring, obviously, your consumer reports on a regular basis. And if you are in the business space, you should be monitoring your business reports for the same. And those will show inquiries. You'll get alerts when new people are looking at your credit report as well. They can go right to our website, which is creditsuite.com/monitoring. And right there, they can plug into our nav integration, and it's the lowest price anywhere for credit monitoring. It's only $24 a month to get Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. If you want Equifax, you can go to them direct. It's about $19.99 just for Equifax Direct. If you went to Experian Direct, it's about $50 a month. If you went to D&B Direct, it's $159 a month. So they can literally get the same thing they get with Experian or D&B for $210 a month for $24 a month, right at creditsuite.com/monitoring. And that just makes it cost effective for anybody to get on there and to actually be able to regularly monitor their credit and see what's going on and get alerts and see when other people are inquiring into their credit.
So that's awesome, by the way, that you can do all of that through your site. What else happens when somebody goes to your site? Is there how can they work with you, or is there things that they can just do on their own? What do they get at Credit Suite?
I'm a big advocate, the fact that I want everybody to know about business credit and know how to build business credit without ever needing to pay us or anybody else to do so. So if they go to our website, creditsuite.com, the top right is our social media links. They can go to YouTube and literally find hundreds of videos where we map out everything involved in the process. We go live on Periscope once a week. We go live on Facebook once a week, mapping out all different aspects of what you need to know to get loans, what you need to know to get credit lines. I just literally finished a webinar, for example, for one of the coolest, most upcoming lenders that's out there, and how their program works. That's really easy to get people approved. So we go over all that kind of stuff on our social media pages. It's right there. The information's free. If somebody also wants to grab a free guide at creditsuite.com/EIN, there's a great free guide at creditsuite.com/EIN that maps out the exact steps to build business credit. And my advice is to grab that guide. Once you grab that guide, you'll get something that's been downloaded hundreds of thousands of times, and that'll map you through the steps. And then you'll start getting emails. And our emails will teach you everything you need to know about business credit, the reporting agency, scores. We'll teach you about loans and credit lines and underwriting criteria and easy ways to get money that most people don't even think exist out there, and loan programs that have just rolled out that are easy to access, all those type of things. And of course, we've got paid services as well, where we like to say we take years of business credit building and condense it down into only months. But either way, you could kind of pay and work with us to expedite the process, or go through the ton of free training we have out there, so everybody can be able to navigate successfully on their own.
Awesome. And I just clicked over. You might have heard that. I was just clicking on your site right now.
That's awesome. That's good. Go ahead, fill out the form. Just go to pricing and then click buy it now. And then choose the most expensive package, and then just put your credit card in summer. And
I love it.
And we're all done. That's all you need to do.
This is awesome because it's not just about, figuring out how to build your own business credit, but where can you go right now? Now, is this for various levels? What if you are a total startup business? This is your first 6 months of business.
We're really big on the philosophy that everybody should be able to access capital. And what we found is that, the average small business owner out there can qualify for money. They just don't know where to go to get it. So On Deck is a great example. They went public years ago, really big in the small business lending space, phenomenal lender, but they can only help you if you have revenue. If you have revenue under 10 grand a month, they can't even really help you, even if your credit score was 850. So what we do is we just pull together all lending programs that are out there that are legitimate, that are tested and actually work. And we just put them in one place, and they can go to our website and go to any of our free training. And we talk about a lot of these different ways. We constantly have webinars that are 20 different ways to get money for a startup and 10 different ways to get money for a trucking industry. So the key to know when it comes to getting money for a business is, what is your strength? Lenders are looking for one of three things. They want to see you have some kind of collateral. It could be equipment or inventory or stocks or bonds or 401k or account receivables or purchase orders. It could be commercial vehicles, something of value. You could use that as leverage and collateral to qualify for really low interest rate financing. The other option is credit. So if you have good credit, then that can open up a bunch of credit lines and loans for you as well. And if you have financials on top of good credit, that opens up even more options. And the third is revenue. Can you verify revenue through bank statements? If you have one of those three things, then you're typically going to qualify for some kind of business loan. So if you're a startup, you could typically qualify for unsecured credit lines using your good credit to qualify, with a personal guarantee in the beginning. Or maybe you're a startup, but you have a 401k that you want to use as collateral to get money. So again, what's nice about what I call this 3C strategy of cash flow, credit, or collateral is you only need one. If you have one of the three, you're probably lendable. You don't need all three. If you have all three, well, then you probably want to go to your bank and consider an SBA loan. And what's nice about business credit is it works in every other alternative. So even if you don't have cash flow, credit, or collateral, you could still come in and get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 individual limit credit cards within months building your business credit. And even if you can get loans, you still want to build your business credit because how much you get, the rates and terms you'll pay, all those type of things are based on that commercial credit quality as one of the biggest driving factors.
Yeah. Well, that all makes total sense. I love how you have everything so easy. It's very easy access on your site.
Well, that's what we try to do. It's a matter of, like I said, the problem we face today as small business owners is not that there's a lack of money. It actually is not the case at all. We're kind of reaching new heights that we haven't seen since 2007 or 8 when it comes to business lending. The general problem is somebody just has no idea where to go. So if you type in business loan in Google, you're going to pop of those paid advertisements to the top ones you see. They won't tell you this, but one of them's based strictly on revenue. One of them's based strictly on credit. So you don't know. You can go to their site and not know what it takes to get approved and waste a lot of time. It's just a matter of knowing that lenders will lend to you based on that strength. And all we've really believed in doing is pulling everything together, teaching you all these programs, teaching you all these ways to get money that you might not know about. On our financing on our website, you can go through and look at a bunch of different funding programs that we offer, but they're also available just in general out in the space to get a better feel for what you may qualify for. The biggest thing to know as a small business owner is you don't have to bootstrap this thing. There's a ton of ways to get money, business credit included, to grow a business that a lot of people just don't know about, but don't think you have to go at it alone. Business credit's one of those ways that it's designed to help your business fund your business. So you don't have to personally fund your business. And the more of this kind of information, education, and knowledge you have, the more easy access to money you'll find that's accessible today, that you don't have to try to bootstrap your business, rely on your own personal credit, rely on your friends and family's money, be able to literally use your business to fund your business.
Right. Well, I'm sure that's refreshing for a lot of people listening who may have not considered that route before. And I think a lot of people think because they don't want to tie themselves personally to such big loans.
Well, and I don't blame them. But the reality is, in the beginning, you have to unless you build your business credit. When you look at the definition of a personal guarantee is required when your business can't stand on its own. And if we look at a company just like Dell as an example, Michael Dell's not out there providing a social every time Dell goes and gets a new credit line. When we even hear that, we think it's ridiculous. Like, well, of course not. Why would he do that? But what people don't know is that even small businesses can get to that same level. The reason Dell qualifies for credit lines isn't just because they're Dell. It's because when you pull Dell's commercial credit report, you see 100 and something trade lines on their credit report. They've built their business credit just like the small guy can. The difference is that Dell and companies that are even middle-sized businesses, they have CFOs. They have controllers. They have financial savvy people that work within these organizations that know better and that start building the commercial credit for the company. But the small business owners, the solopreneurs, the guys that are just getting started, they just don't have those people. So nobody's there to tell them, hey, this exists. You can get it too. You can actually follow the exact same steps Dell followed to get their credit. And we even show that, I'll stand on stages and show companies like Mars Incorporated that makes Mars bars. And I'll show actual clients that have more trade lines than some of the biggest privately owned and publicly owned companies that exist. And they followed the same steps that the big guys followed to do it. It's just been this unwritten, unpublished stepped process that they don't tell you about. They want you to provide that guarantee if you're willing to. They want the small solopreneur to be able to not know these secrets because they only want the 3, 4, 5, 10-year businesses that already proven that they can succeed to have access to capital. I just believe differently. I just think everybody should have a shot at living the American dream and building a successful business, not just people that struggle for years and accomplish a bunch of revenue and then figure out that they never even needed to do that. They could have got the money from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. So for people that are struggling, say, with their own personal credit you were kind of in that situation, yet you're building your business at the same time. What are some advice and tips that you have for people in that situation? Because there's, I've heard that too many times.
Sure, what happens?
And sometimes it's either their credit that's happened because, like you said, they were trying to bootstrap or start something, and then within a year they're like, oh crap, look at how I've made a whole 180.
Right. It makes sense. If you're a business owner starting a business, if you're in this phase and you have damaged credit, well, don't feel bad. Most people do. Because what happens is, to get into running a business, you're a rebel. You have a certain kind of personality that is just inherently, you take more risks than people that are different. The really conservative people aren't the ones that usually jump in and start businesses. It's the rebels. It's the people that go against the grain. It's the people that take risks. And those people, their credit reflects that in a lot of cases they take those risks. So it's very common for business owners to have challenged credit because the personality that makes them good business owners is also the personality that sometimes leads them to fail in instances, which causes the credit issues. So the important thing to know is that when it comes to consumer credit, number one, you need to dispute everything that you think even has a chance of being inaccurate on your credit report. Yes, maybe you went late on a Chase credit card, but there's 100 points of data on something, and that's an exaggeration. It's not 100, it's less, but it's a lot. Points of data on a credit report for every individual account that could be disputed. And what was shocking owning a consumer credit company was that 80 to 90% of what we found derogatory on customers' credit reports was wrong. The information was wrong. And when it was disputed, the Fair Credit Reporting Act says if it's wrong, it can't be on the report. So the items would get deleted. So somebody would go, look, I feel bad. I really did go late on Chase. Well, was this your balance? Well, I don't really know. Well, then let's check it. Let's make them verify it. It's their right to verify it. And then we would go through to verify it, and Chase would just delete the item because the information was inaccurate. This isn't surprising to anybody that monitors their credit. If you pay for credit monitoring with all three reporting agencies, you see a side-by-side comparison. And you'll see the data is different for all three reporting agencies. You'll see the limits are different. You'll see the balances are different. And that can't be right. I mean, you can't have inaccurate data between the three and then it be accurate. If it's accurate, then they would all read the exact same. It, in most cases, is not accurate. So what happens is you got to dispute these accounts. Maybe you went late on Chase, but that doesn't mean they have the right indicators and the right codes on there. It doesn't mean that the limits and the balances and everything is directly right. So dispute that information. You have the right to do so to make sure that everything is 100% accurate, verifiable, and timely. And if you dispute it and they say, yes, the balance is correct, well, then dispute the limit if you think that that's incorrect. If you go through this process, you'll see about 80 to 90% of stuff gets deleted off the reports. If you don't want to do it, find a great credit repair company out there. Check their BBB. Check to make sure that they're credible. There's a lot of them out there that are credible, and they're as little as $99 a month, or some of them even only charge you to delete items on your credit report once they're deleted. So go through, do it on your own, or pay somebody to dispute the negatives. The second advice is to add positive credit. So many people would come to us to help fix their credit. We would dispute all kinds of items and delete them because they weren't accurate. But then the person wouldn't be able to see their scores go up because they had no positive credit. So you need to go to places like My Jewelers Club. And My Jewelers Club is like a credit card you can get for $5,000 only to use in their store. But the good thing about it is that it helps you rebuild credit. Since 30% of your credit limit's made of utilization, then that one account can really raise your scores because just adding available credit raises your scores, or use secure credit cards the same. And if you own a business, build your business credit. You can do it regardless of personal credit quality. And it's the secret and the key to separating your personal and your consumer and your business credit. And when you separate consumer and commercial credit, then you stop putting those inquiries on your consumer credit, which affect your score. You stop using consumer credit cards to fund your business, of which 30% of your score is utilization. So you're tanking your scores because you're overutilizing your accounts, et cetera. So separate your consumer business credit, dispute derogatory items or anything you even think can be derogatory on your consumer reports, and add positive credit. Those are my best advice for anybody struggling with consumer credit issues.
I love it. There's so much good stuff here. I think the biggest eye opener for a lot of people is that there is a business credit profile on your business. There is. There might be nothing there, but you can build it, and it's important to do so. And I also think, knowing that I, for one, didn't know that you could, get business credit just based on your EIN. I always figured it was, had to be personally guaranteed, and that's what, we'd always done. So that's very cool. And I'm sure there's a lot of people listening going, oh, I didn't know that. I think people knew that, you can apply for things and you'll use your business EIN, but to know that you can do something without attaching your social to it is pretty big.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to come on and share today. So all of your listeners now know.
Yes, exactly. And your site is beautiful, has so much incredible information. Not only can you get the help in actually getting some free information on how to build that credit, but also if you're ready to actually apply, you have access to all of that as well, which is also very awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, we try to make as many things accessible on the website as possible to make it easy for you to do one. Get the ton of free information that's there, especially on our social media links. Go to creditsuite.com/EIN to get the free guide. And then there's a lot of other information about working with us and our program and other funding programs that are out there. Just about everything you'll need when it comes to getting money to grow the business.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ty. This was super cool and super different too.
I appreciate. I know this isn't typically what you do, but I appreciate you sharing. Hopefully your listeners got a lot of value. Summer, it's so much fun. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to today's Get Genius. You can learn more about The Draw Shop at www.thedrawshop.com on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. your home for kick-butt custom whiteboard marketing videos. Your ideas come to life. Thanks for listening. Please share, comment, and make any suggestions for future Genius guests.